team. I don't know. Yeah. Partnership team. I've been in real estate since 2012, but I kind of jumped in full time in 2016. I used to be a high school English teacher, and from 2012 to 2016, I was still teaching. So I sort of did it as like a side hustle. And then I left teaching and just jumped right in. My husband and I, we also owned a construction company. So he would travel and build across the United States. And we kind of got tired of that. And it was crazy. I'm like, why don't you come home and sell real estate? In probably the worst time. Actually, the market was shifting. It was like 2013. Things were getting better. But yeah, we actually were licensed even before that. He was, but we had a construction company. So we did that. Anyway, we still have our construction company. He still builds things. But mostly we do residential and commercial real estate. I went to University of Utah and got a master's in real estate development. And we are working on our first development project, trying to get funding right now. So it's kind of scary, but fun. I finished that last year. And anyway, that's me. I do a lot of listings. I don't even know what my percentage is. I should probably look at my spreadsheet and figure that out, but at least half or more. So I'm going to just walk you through my process. You can stop me along the way. For some reason today, I was thinking before we got here in my head and all the way here, I was thinking it was once you have a listing, from listing to close, what do you do? Like once you sign the paperwork, not the listing presentation. And then right as I got here, I rechecked my little, the slide about announcing that I was teaching today. And it was like listing presentation. So I was like, oh crap. So I was scrambling for a minute trying to remember, okay, what do I do? I mean, I know what I do, but making sure I have all the materials. So it's fine. We're going to roll with it. And maybe we will talk about listing once you get the listing and going to the end. But I did, right? Okay, so I don't have to do listing presentation. I am working listings. What is the definition of that? What do you mean by that? I got there. Okay, so I was. Okay, so the slide did not say that, the advertising. Okay. Oh, he's our VA.
He's just a really high-tech AI that just knows how to do everything and communicate with everybody.
I can do that, sure. Hey, that's great. Who is this? I see this all the time. Okay, so I have a request. Can you go through the listing agreement? Sure. Any other requests before we dive in? I guess because now I have all the materials, I will give you a glimpse of what I do. How about for my listing presentation? But Jackie can go through hers on Monday, and I actually think it's really helpful to see a whole bunch of people do their listing presentations. And I'm not going to do like a full out, but I'll kind of show you what I do in prep to get there. And then we go through the listing agreement, we sign it, and then what do we do? For me, I'm really into the marketing aspect of real estate. I've done a lot of research and training on it, and what does it mean? And really, for me, it all comes down to, and I know Keller Williams talks about this, but like the customer experience. What kind of customer experience do you want your clients to have? And that starts before you get a listing. That starts before you even go to a listing presentation. It starts with your branding. It starts with your marketing when you're just, telling about who you are and what you do, right? But you want to carry that through. So one time I sat down and I was like, I want to create a customer journey for my clients. And I just routed out what that looks like from before I'm like, okay, I might get a call or a text, or maybe it's a lead or something, whatever it is. However, I'm getting this name that somebody's interested in me. They're interested in you selling your house, but they're really interested in you. What do you have to offer me? How are you different? What are you going to do for me, right? So I sat down and I was like, okay, I mapped out. And I mean, you guys, it was a really long, lengthy thing. Is it perfect every time? Am I perfect every time? No, it's the ideal. In an ideal, perfect world, what do I want my experience, customer listing experience to look like for my clients? Sometimes I forget steps, but for the most part, the overall meat of it is there. So I challenge you to think about that. Have you ever sold a home? What was that experience for you? What was the agent like when they came? And what did you like? What didn't you like from that? And kind of take from that as you go and listen and go to all these different trainings and things that you're going to. You're hearing all kinds of things, like make notes. Oh, that's a cool idea what so-and-so does. And that's a cool idea what this person does. I'm going to add it to my customer experience. Also, like there's the book. Oh crap, what's the book? I can't even it's the one about like the guy who's talks about how you have to have systems and you have, yes, thank you. I knew Cameron would know it. The E-Myth. And actually, I read this book many years ago when we had a construction company, because it talks about like, you're a one-man show, and then you got to break up your business into different categories, and then hopefully at some point you can find someone to replace you for those different roles. In real estate, maybe you're not going to have a team. Maybe you are going to be a one-man show forever, but hopefully at some point you can add on a transaction coordinator. Maybe you can add on an assistant, something to help you with these systems. But it does help. In that book, he talks about the customer experience, and I think he talks about the Ritz. Is it the Ritz Carlton?
Oh no,
it's a random hotel.
Is it the one with the teddy bear that they take around everywhere?
No, it's where, yeah, they gave him his newspaper in the morning. Like from the moment he arrived, like they had everything that he liked, and like his schedule like mapped out, like what this experience of coming to a hotel. So like what did he have? They had the sheets turned down, they had chocolates, they had breakfast ready, they had the newspaper for him every morning, and they just did all these little things just to make his stay like he didn't really have to think about anything. He could just enjoy being there, right? And that's, I think, what I would challenge you is read that book. And if anything, just pay attention to what they talk about when it comes to the customer experience with whatever hotel it is. I want to say it was like a fancy hotel that's a brand name, like if either the Ritz or the Plaza or something, I don't know, one of those, but it's fancy. I also think of Nordstrom. You want to give the Nordstrom experience, right? When you shop at Nordstrom, it's still one of those stores that you can take back anything, which is marvelous. Which is marvelous. Yeah, actually, I recently took back something. I had a skirt and I never wore it. I still had the tags on, and it didn't fit me anymore because I lost some weight. And I'm like, what am I doing with this? I can take this back to Nordstrom. And I felt guilty all the way to the store, but I'm like, but that is something that they, advertise, and they took it back, gave me full price, put it right back onto my card. It was a wonderful day.
You guys hear the story about them taking back tires?
Nordstrom?
Yeah. So there was like a Nordstrom. It was a new store, and a lady had come there and bought tires from a tire. It was a tire store before, and she came back however many months later, I don't even know, and brought tires, and they refunded her for the tires.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know Nordstrom.
They don't have tires. But there's a different
like
store
somewhere else where they may have them. Huh? That's random.
No, I don't think they have tires anywhere.
They just took them back.
They took them back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's only 2 stores I know of that will take anything back: Costco and Nordstrom. So, but also the Nordstrom experience is when they're there, they always have someone there who's there to help you, assist you. But then when you're checking out, they will never pass a bag they'll never give you your bag over the counter. They will step around, bring it around, and hand it to you. So pay attention if you ever shop there. And I almost want them to pass it to me over the counter just to see if, I kind of like reach for it, like, I do it on purpose because I want to see if any of them will break, and they don't. Can, right on, they'll come around. Also, they have a major sale in the summer every year, and everything that's like pre-season stuff. Usually the sales are post-season, right? At the end of winter, at the end of summer, at the end of spring, there's a sale. Every store has it. No, Nordstrom has a sale in July that is pre. And you can get good stuff for like 30-40% off. Like, it's the time I like, and it's perfect timing. It's school, all the things. And so, yeah, my husband gets nice suits for like half off. Anyway, think about your experience and what that wants to be. And my only point is, this really goes along with my whole strategy, what I do before I meet them, when I go out, and everything. So before I meet with a client, first, I'll call them up and we'll have what I call a discovery call. I don't like to call it a sales call or anything like that, or even a listing consultation. I don't even super love that terminology, because I'm there to the mind frame of discovery is just that. I'm there to ask questions to discover what they need, what their home is like, all the things. I try to get as much information about the home upfront as possible. I try to ask, probing questions about, well, why are they thinking of moving? Have they talked to any other agents? What are their expectations? I try to get as much information on this call as possible. However, I'm not going to I don't want to take forever either, and I don't want to exhaust them and overwhelm them from the beginning. But just a few questions to give me a little information about them. Then and one of the things I want to know also is about their house. I need to know what kind of updates they've done in the home, if any, since they bought it. Any renovations, what kind of finishes are in their home. Have they finished the basement? If so, how many bedrooms and bathrooms are down there? Do they have fireplace? Do they have a kitchen? Do they have anything that I would need to know when I am pulling comps? Because in a perfect world, it'd be best to go look and tour a home before you pull comps, but that just never happens. And so I have to try to get as much information about it. Okay, what about your landscaping? Is it fenced? Is it this? Just trying to think about anything that they could have done in the home. When I say what type of finishes, is it a white kitchen? Is it wood? What, I also look up on the county, and I even say to this, besides what's on the county records, how big your house is and acreage and things and what it says there, tell me about your house. What have you finished? Have they done any replaced carpet? Have they replaced mechanical systems? Those are a big deal, especially for the age of the home. What about the roof? How's the roof condition? All of those things I want to probe as much, because I'm going to go pull comps and I want to be able to look at other listings and know, okay, is this comparable or not, without even seeing it. Sometimes I even ask them to take pictures of their house and send it to me, especially if they've done some remodeling. And, well, even without remodeling, I kind of want to know, what am I looking at? Because I'm looking at pictures of other listings when I'm pricing it, right? So I'll ask as much information, and then I'll kind of just keep an open dialogue, whether it's sometimes I'm messaging people just through Facebook. Sometimes I'm texting. Sometimes I'm on the phone with them, So I'm trying to keep that open dialogue. Okay, if I have any other questions, I'll get back to you. And I do try to think of a question in between me, that phone call, and our visit about the house, just to keep them engaged and excited. And it's usually, hey, can you tell me again? I don't know, just something, and oftentimes there really are legitimate questions that come up. So, my first thing is a discovery call. Then I'm going to pull comps. And I'm going to put together my package. I'm also going to send an email. And on this email, I'm going to send, the this is something I recently changed and started doing, but okay, the first part of my email.
Question for you.
Yeah.
When you're doing that discovery, do you ask them, like, let's say they finished out their basement,
Is this the one?
No. Never ask them if they have a permit?
This
Do people get concerned about that ever? Never ask?
How many times people have asked me if there's been a permit pulled is like, I can count on less than 2 hands.
Really? Okay.
Maybe even less than 1.
So that doesn't usually come up in, okay.
Thanks. It is important to know. Probably I failed to ask that though, because it's not. Somebody recently on one of the Facebook groups, I noticed, asked that question, and because the buyer was super hyper vigilant about that. Actually, yeah. So it is important to know, I would say, and it would be something that you could even put in the marketing or in the agent notes. It was permitted, but I would say how many basements do you think are permitted in Utah? I don't know the percentage, but how many do you think actually are? Very few. Yeah, very few. It's just because anybody can build, like, you don't have to have a license to build a basement. And so people think, and they're afraid that if they go to the city that they're going to have to be taxed more. And it's like minimal.
Well, I had all licensed contractors too, so I thought,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. In all the basements we finished, I probably would say in recent years we get them. When we were younger, we didn't. Ben just finished because he was a contractor too, and so he just would hire out the contractors or do the work that he was trained to do, skilled to do. Okay, so I send out an email. I put a bunch of emails in here, so I'm just going to do this first part. So I'm looking forward to our listing consultation this Monday, August 11th at 9 a.m. I've attached my listing guide for you to review prior to our appointment. I will be asking you questions about your goals for selling your home, any questions or concerns you might have related to your sale. Please take a moment to think about those things before Monday so we can ensure we make the best use of our time together and address the most important issues. I'll be preparing materials for your review, including an overview of our marketing campaign, an explanation of social strategy, and a comparative market analysis to show you what is selling and not selling in your area. And we'll review the numbers to see if selling makes sense for you. A few things to think about before we meet. What is your moving timeline? What do you hope to net from your home sale? What concerns do you have about your listing your home? And write these down before we meet so we can talk through all the details. Thanks again and see you Monday. And so I also sent a calendar invite that showed that I'm going to come in person at X time, right? And then I attached this listing guide. That's why it's not right. Oh, geez. What? It's because it's big. Okay, so this just goes through some things about me.
So is this one that you have on command?
Oh, no. Where did I get this one? No. I mean, it is a Canva file, yeah, but I can't remember where I got it. There's so many different online people that
And they're called listing guides.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like search them out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Elevated Agent has a lot. That's a great site, but I don't think this one's from there.
But these aren't photos of a home that you sold.
These ones, no, but in my other listing guide that I bring to my listing appointment, yes. So take the stress out of sold with our modern approach, Anyway, kind of goes through everything. The other one that I have, I designed and made myself.
Did you do that in Do you have somebody that does any of your marketing for you?
No, yes and no. I do most of it. I do have a person who will sometimes create the post, but she does not come up with any of the content or idea behind it at all. She just executes it. So, so this just kind of gives an overview of kind of what they're going to do. This is almost like the light, pretty version. The one I come is a little bit more meaty, but it kind of just goes over the process. Anyway, blah, 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 blah.
I love that.
Thanks. So, and I've edited. It's not exactly like I go, I personalized it for me. Anyway, so this is the guide that I send out with that first email. Okay. Then,
and you do that like right when you had just an initial conversation.
Well, we've set an appointment.
Once you set an appointment. Okay.
If I haven't set an appointment, then I would send another email of just thanks so much for your time. It's so great to hear from you. Maybe give them a few more insights on selling a home, and then, let's chat tomorrow or next day, something with a follow-up. So the idea behind that is coming up with like a sales funnel, and that would be part of your sales funnel. So you talk, they make an appointment, then what do you do when you make an appointment? If you talk to somebody and they don't make an appointment, then what do you do there to follow up to try to get them to make an appointment? Again, and that's like with anything you do, there's always either there's a yes or a no, and from the yes, what do we do? From the no, what do we do to get them to the yes? And then once we've got them listed, what do we do? Once we get them under contract, what do we do? Once we sell, what do we do? It's in the process. Even after we sell, it's a process forever. Like they're always your client no matter what. Like, right?
If they go dark for you at some point, then do you continue on? Because I'm reading this book on prospecting, and to me, I would not be able to be that annoying. You know what I mean? What you suggested in the book. So is there some point where if they're not responding to you with these follow-ups, that you give up? Or what do you do?
I never give up with the email.
You don't continue on, even if you never have another.
Even, and I don't feel like I'm annoying. But that's because I don't like being an annoying salesperson, so I won't do the annoying things. The email, I think, is not annoying. And if they want to unsubscribe, they can unsubscribe. When it comes to texts and calls, I actually do not. Okay, Cameron doesn't want to hear this. I don't make calls.
When you become Courtney. When you first started, did you make calls?
I did it a few times and I hated it. No.
People don't answer their phones anymore. They really don't.
Now, okay, if it means picking up the phone and dialing and like having conversations with people that way, no. Do I text them? Yes. I text people all the time. And I also text for invites. Like in my strategy, I don't call people and be like, hey, I started. Okay. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. For me, it's all about how can I maximize events? And that is how I call people or text people. I invite them to things. Okay. I am not the person who I just don't.
When you first started, how did you go about
that? I would say probably for a little bit when I worked at a certain brokerage that I will not name. It was hell on earth. Actually jaded me from real estate for a little bit. It starts with an M. Do you know what company I'm talking about? Okay. We're going to leave it there. It was awful. Huh?
Well, they're big into prospecting, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
I want to hurl. They're very much on the Mike Ferry. It was back then Mike Ferry. Now I think everything shifted to Tom Ferry, which Tom Ferry is better than Mike Ferry. But Mike Ferry just reminded me, I love my dad. But my dad, I'm the youngest of 6, and he's like a lot older than me. And he's, if he were alive still, he'd be like 90. He's the old school salesperson. And that was the style. And I was like, I'm like my dad right now, and I hate this. Like it did not resonate with me at all. It was like the high pressure, the push, 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 push until you close. Hell to the no. Every person's different, right? You have to find what works for you. Do you have to reach out to people? 100%, yes. But I'll tell you, I probably got the most maximum exposure from my social media, Facebook posts, Instagram, all my friends following me posting about everything that I was doing. If I was sitting at an open house and it wasn't my listing, I'd post about it, not tell them it wasn't my listing, Well, I mean, in the find notes, you say list so-and-so's listing, but I would use every opportunity when they could see me doing something to tell about it. Then how I really got my first listing, I had a listing in my neighborhood. One of my friends listed it, and I used that I used that as a way to launch myself. And then in my neighborhood, there was a couple other agents, and I had a bunch of friends. It was a time when, everybody been sitting in their houses for forever because when they bought them too high, and then the market crashed in 2007, 8, and they were underwater in their houses, and they had to stay and live there for 10 years. I mean, who has to do that? That sucks. Right? People want
doing that now.
Yeah, I know. But it was to this point now where the market was shifting, and everybody's like, wait a minute. I have equity in my house. I can sell my house, and I can go build my dream house, And so what I did, I was a new agent. I was competing with a couple other agents, even one that's in this office who's one of my good friends. And I was a new agent, and I listed these houses for heck of a deals. So I could get as many signs in my neighborhood as possible.
Heck of a deals as far as your commission goes, right? Okay.
So I did it as a strategy of like, you know what, I'm going to take less so that I can get as many signs in my neighborhood as possible, because I want people to see, hey, this friend of so-and-so trusts her. This friend of her trusts her. This friend trusts her. This friend trusts her. And it's like, I've got all these friends who were using me. Oh, I should use her. And it worked.
That's good to know, because there's like 5 agents in my ward. Mm-hmm. And I'm so nice, so that's like, oh, I don't want to step on your toes kind of a thing. And I'm going, I got to get over that.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I probably deserved what percentage I listed at the time, because I was a newer agent and didn't know what the H I was doing, But I was on fire. I was happy and I was excited, and I wanted to help and do a good job. So I would know I was worth more than that, because my value as a person is I am a high achiever type person. I will dig in. I will roll up my sleeves. I will do whatever it takes to get a house sold. I have extremely high expectations for myself. So therefore, I will do it. But did I know what I was doing? No, I did not. You get it. When you get into real estate, you take the classes, and then you're like, now what? I didn't learn anything in real estate school. I maybe learned how to not go to jail, but I don't know anything about the business, right? I knew nothing. And so I use that as an opportunity, and it was, great. And it's funny because how I worried about it at that time, I was really worried about this one friend, because we also were in a similar circle. We had a lot of the same friends. But it's funny how it works out. Even today, it's funny how the group kind of split. And it was like, these people went with me, these people went with him. And we both encouraged and cheered each other on. We still do. And it's like funny because like every once in a while, none of us live in that same neighborhood anymore, but it's funny how it's like, oh, hey, I see you got so-and-so's listing. Good job, Knuckles or whatever. And it bugged us when someone in our neighborhood went outside of our neighborhood to hire an agent because they were afraid to offend one of us. It's like, no, you don't understand. I'd rather he have it or I have it, no one else. Like, you know, I mean, truthfully, I support, I want everybody to succeed. And I do think there's enough business for us all to succeed. But, yeah. So that was like one of the ways that I really got going, and I posted a lot. And this was before social media. Do I have a huge following? No, but that doesn't matter. Who follows you are the people that are your friends. And those are the people that you want. Like your SOI is the most important. And I will tell you, my SOI is majority of my business. I don't do a lot of either it's SOI or referrals from my SOI. I do not do a lot of marketing outside of that anymore. Do I need to? Probably, because there's so many people in your SOI, and you do need to like keep feeding you got to keep bringing new people into that. But I would say I still have a great life and a great business with where I'm at. So where I make my calls and texts is I do it in like, say, the backdoor approach. And these are old cells. There's side door, back door. Look those up. Front door is the aggressive. I'm going to call and I'm just going to, hey, I just got into real estate. Who do you know is looking to sell their house? Boom. That's like front door. That's a little bit too much for me. My spirit and soul does not resonate with that. But I can just kind of slide in to a text. Hey, how's it going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Leave it there. Then what do? They start texting back. Hi, oh my gosh, how are you? It's been so good. And then I'll see, look at their Facebook or Instagram if I haven't talked to them for a while and see something that's going, oh, I just saw, you post about X. That looks like so much fun. What is up? Da da da. And then they'll reply and we'll keep this conversation and I'll be like, what's going on with you? And then they'll say, what's going on with you? Well, there's your door. I just got started in real estate. Got my first listing. Just help somebody this, whatever. I just got licensed. It's a perfect way. Now they know. Or you can call them on the phone and have that conversation. But I don't use it as a sales, I try to be like not salesy about it or pushy. Cameron, am I saying everything that you don't want me to say?
No. Everyone has their way to get business. And if your way is not working, then that means you have to do someone else's way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot.
And you can do someone else's way until your way starts working.
I know a lot of agents that have gotten on the phone and have made a lot of phone calls and have never got a closing. It's because they were really bad on the phone. And so they did someone else's way, but they did it bad. And so they didn't get any.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, I'm never going to get on the phone. So I love the idea of the Courtney plan. I'm going to post it on my social media and I'm just going to be a friend to the people that I'm already a friend with. And they never get a closing because they don't ever talk to the right people.
That's true.
So you have to figure out what's working and what's not. If it's not working, you have to pivot and change. If you haven't tried it long enough to get it to work, you might as well try it.
That's true. And I will say, before I got into real estate, I had done a lot of things in different sales avenues. And so when it came to real estate, I intuitively also know when is the right time to follow up and what to say. And, because I'd done a lot of sales training before. So read up on sales and what all that, and, and take what works and resonates with you and start doing it. And really, as long as you're doing something, like you got to be doing something, and the events thing is like really was a game changer for me. We offer so many events throughout the year, at least 2 big ones that you should be a part of and use that in your business. It is such a good and easy way to contact people without talking about real estate at all. But they know you're in real estate because you're inviting them to a real estate thing. It's not a real estate thing. It's a real estate party hosted by real estate agents. But the idea is more top of mind than anything. How can you be top of mind within your sphere as the real estate expert? And if you can keep yourself as top of mind within your sphere and consistently reaching out in different ways, then you'll get business, I think. Well, at least it worked for me. So like, for example, we have Jakers coming up in September or October or something. Jakers. It's a pumpkin patch. Where's it at? Springville? No. Spanish Fork? It's like it's off the freeway.
Oh, is it off 500?
I don't know. One of those. I've been there lots of times. I pass it all the time, and I don't know. I have. Yeah. So we do that in the fall, and it does cost a little bit of it does cost money, but real estate is a business, and you gotta sometimes fork out a little money in the business. If you were going to start any other business, there would be startup costs. So look at it that way. This is your startup cost, Another thing you could do is postcards and start sending that out as a monthly thing to like your sphere. Just pick your top 100. I learned that there's a class called this is actually really good training that I learned a lot of the referral stuff from. It's Brian Buffini. He's kind of old school too, but I do like his system. Buffini. He has a great program on follow-up or on referral-based business that will feed you forever.
Is that a book or is it like a?
I don't know if he has a book. Probably he does, but it's an actual course.
Oh, okay.
So he has a method, and we talk about them, and actually a lot of agents talk about, like we even talk about them here. Do we talk about pop buys? Do we ever use that in our thing? Yeah. So pop buys is a Buffini method. So basically, and he talks about, and we talk about that here, where you take your whole sphere, and then you pick your top 100, and within that top 100, you're going to rank them like A, B, C, D. Like A's are going to be your people who are going to buy from you or sell from you. But also you can't bank on that. Sometimes you think a C is going to be a C, but then they end up being your best A. So I do try to not I just pick your top 100 best people that know, love you, like you, trust you, and start marketing to them. So we did that with postcards and something. So yeah, I would send out a postcard every month, and it was just another top of mind. Oh, here's Courtney. And a funny thing is, you remember when Bernie Sanders, there was that picture of him sitting in the cold, whatever, in this. Well, that is a funny thing. I did a postcard with me sitting on the bench on my front porch in that pose, and or it was him, and we just put my head on him. And I got so many calls from all the people who they never call me, never talk to me, never text me, never email, never anything. But I got a bunch of texts. Courtney, this is really funny. It was like one. And people you think you're not reaching people, and you think that they have gone off the grid and that they'll never ever buy through. And then miraculously, 3-4 years down the road, because you've consistently done it, they'll call you. Maybe not everyone, but some of them will, So just because somebody is not responding doesn't mean they hate you, doesn't mean they don't want to hear from you. It just, they're not looking to sell or buy right now, But when they are, they'll remember who did that and who reached. So events are a big thing. So we have the summer splash party. We have the fall pumpkin thing. What else? Those are the two that are office big ones that we do, and plan for that.
We are going to do 4 every year. 3 of them are educational, like first-time home buyers, how to invest in real estate.
Perfect.
House hacking.
Yes.
This year. And then we're going to do photos of Santa.
I love it. So those are great opportunities where you either can pick up a call and personally invite them on the call. I use an app that I just create like a text text invitation, and then it sends out to everybody on that in who I put on that list, who I want them to go out to, and yeah, start inviting people, and then they come, and guess what? Every event I've had, I've gotten clients from, because they come and then they're like, oh, I wanted to talk to you about X. Either it's selling, buying, or both. Beautiful, it's both. Okay, so we're going to do that email. After the email, okay, there's some different philosophies where some people like to send out a whole pre-listing package. They have the CMA, they have everything in it before they get there, and they want them to review it before they get there. I haven't loved that, because then people start asking me right away what my fees are. And so, I don't know.
The only positive I've ever heard is someone says, when I show up to the listing appointment, I walk through their house and I say, do you have any questions? Great, let's list your home. Here's the agreement to sign. I'm like, you know what? That's a 20-minute appointment. I'm okay if I'm an hour and a half.
Nothing changes in my life. Yeah. I personally want to use the opportunity at the listing appointment to build rapport and ask the questions as we're touring their house. So usually what happens is I don't send anything over before, except for that now. Just a, hey, follow up. Here's our appointment. Look over this guide. Here's these questions. Write those down. You could do one other thing, and that is you could ask them to fill out the seller's disclosures before you get there, which is something that Lee Stern teaches, and I love that idea. Also, but I feel like that's homework, and then also answering the questions is homework, and if they've done any of that, put any thought into it, means they're invested. Yeah.
Could I take a picture of your email that you send?
Oh, yeah.
Like you use as a template, figuring out my own stuff.
Okay, so then I show up to the listing appointment, and this is what I would do is I like to ask them, and I learned this from Lee, can I put my stuff down at your table? Because I want to be like sitting at a table. It's just easier to, plus I got a lot of crap that I'm holding and passing out and stuff. So I'll set my bags down, and they're like, hey, do you want to, I said, let's check out your house, because I'm using that as a moment where I want to get to know them. And I feel like it's just a great way for them to lead me around and for them to start feeling comfortable with me. I'm not like going right in it and like being salesy on them, right? But we're walking around the house. We're looking at things. I'm giving some suggestions, not too many yet, but I do want to, I'm really just like, oh, I love this. I love what you've done. Cute decor, la, la, la. I'm really just, making them feel good about their house.
And if it's over in our house, do you just bite your tongue and say, oh?
Uh-huh. I was like, oh, okay, this is great. Oh, like show me. Yeah, show me. Oh, and I'm thinking, oh crap, we got a lot of work to do, And also as we're walking through the home, if there's a lot of hoarding, then I'm also thinking, okay, how can I gently talk to them about like what needs to be done? Because that is a tricky thing too, especially for some women who are not hoarders, but on the opposite side, their house is like a boutique. They love decorating so much, and it's like everywhere, and they took so much pride in their decorating, but it's like 90% of this has to come down. I had a friend who cried. I actually wasn't the listing agent. I don't even remember who was listing her house, but she asked another one of our friends who's like interior designer to come through and like literally bawled because wait, what? She took it as a personal she took it personal that she didn't like her decor or people wasn't going to like their stuff when really it wasn't even about that. It's like we got to be able to see the space. You know, there's so much like it really did look like you were going into what's that store that used to be at the point of the mountain?
Where it's just like rod works.
Yeah, Rodworks. It looked like a Rodworks. Yes. Yes. I was like, oh.
I've got a neighbor like that. In her house, I just get claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And she's not dirty.
No, it's clean. It's beautifully decorated. But yeah, where can we sit?
But I'm the opposite.
Yeah. So, okay, so then we'll get there. We'll walk around, we'll tour. Sometimes they have questions for me right then. What do you think of this? I'm really worried about this. Or should I paint this room? Yes. Should I replace this carpet? Yes. You know, should I this? Should I that? Yeah. Then I say, okay, when we go back to the table, and then I'll pull up my slideshow. We'll go through some of the questions that they have. You know, on that list. And so I pull up a slideshow, and you don't have to have a slideshow. Again, this is just me and my neurotic. Yeah. 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 There you go. You can have one. You can have just a whatever papers. Yeah, I'm going to. How do I? Okay, well, we'll go not do it this way. I don't know. Okay, we'll just do it this way. Yeah, so, you know, I asked them, what do they know about us? You know, like, why did you call me? What do you know about me and the way I do my listings? How do we do things different? Like, what caught their eye? Why did they call me, essentially? Then we talk about, and I don't know why in here it looks like crazy, but it does not look like that on my screen. I think it's the lighting that just makes it this. Oh, maybe, sure. So we talk about the 3 reasons that a home sells, and I go back to this. This is one of the best things that I learned when I was a new agent. I was at another brokerage, and the broker there trained us on this, and it was really life-changing. And I use this when I'm doing a price adjustment. I'm doing this at the beginning, and I'm always coming back to it. So the 3 reasons why a home sells always comes down to price, condition, and location. A location is a non-controllable. We can't control the location. So what are the 2 things that we can control? Price and condition. So my job is to do everything that we can to help you get the condition of your property up to the best possible condition, so that we can list it for the best price, right? If a house isn't selling, then it usually comes down to price or condition. We either have to adjust the price or we have to do something in the house to be able to justify the price, right? If somebody's like, well, I'm not going to do anything then to help with the condition, then I know, okay, well, that's price. So we're going to have to adjust the price. Location does affect price, right? Like like in my neighborhood, it's an interesting situation. So I'm in Saratoga Springs and Redwood Road is right here. Lake is here. I'm right here. And there's a street I'm actually on this street. My house, I have the view of the lake. The people across the street from me have Redwood Road. Well, all the houses that back Redwood Road do not sell for the same amount. Like, they just don't. And they're also smaller. But then on the other side, all the houses like inside. It's like the homes on the perimeter are smaller and get less on the inside. They all are worth a lot more, like significantly more, because we have the views of the lake and, you know, it's different. So it does matter if you're off a highway, or you've got power lines or something, like you do have to look at that and consider that in the price. I can't remember. I think Becca knows stats on anything. So I want to say somebody asked, hey, there's this house on X road, and I can't remember. I wanted to say it was like Tip Highway or something. And she's like, well, and they were asking, how should I price it differently? And I want to say Becca said like, it was close to 10%, 5 to 10% difference usually when it backs a busy highway versus the other houses. So if you're buying a house on a busy road, make sure you're buying it, you know, for less, because you'll be facing that in the future when you go to resell. So we talk about the 3 things that reasons a home sells. Then we talk about how a buyer finds a home. And so, you know, either they know the sellers, they see a yard sale, they walk into a home builder, somebody they know, a friend, relative, or neighbor is selling, a real estate agent has sent them, or they found it on the internet. Now, I do tell them this internet and real estate agent statistic is a little deceiving. What I mean by that, like 96%, I think, of homes are sold by a real estate agent. But what I mean is they were searching online, they came across it, then they call their agent versus the agent sent them the listing, right? So we kind of clarify that. Most of the time, the homes that are on the internet are listed by agents, so they do call their agent. So really, you know, it's a little, but we talk about that. And the reason why I bring this up is because I want them to understand, and I even tell them this, hey, I'm bringing this up and I'm telling you this because my goal as part of our marketing strategy is I want to make sure that we are hitting every one of these categories. I mean, maybe not the builders, but everyone else we want to hit in our marketing strategy so that we are getting the maximum exposure possible for your house. So then they can see as we go throughout my marketing strategies, how we hit each one of those categories. So when pre-listing services, so things that I do is listings are tough. They require a lot of upfront work, and they require a little bit of either elbow grease, sweat equity, or money. Again, you got to think of your business as a business. And for me, I put a bunch into the upfront. Now, is it necessary? Do you have to do this? No. Do you have to put as much money upfront into a listing as I do? No. You could. There are other ways that you could go around it. And when I was a newer agent, I didn't do all of these things, right? But as I'm more seasoned, I have more business, I have more clients, I feel like for me and my services and my value proposition, I offer this. So I offer professional cleaning. I have someone come in, clean their house. I have the carpets cleaned and I have the windows washed. That alone, all of those things together is pushing $1,000. Contractor services. Do I always provide the contractor service? No. But I do have contractors. I have a list of contractors that they could call if they need some work done. However, have I provided contractor services? Yes. My husband is a general contractor, so we can do that. What we did for that, we had a listing in West Jordan last fall, actually, and they had it listed with another agent, wasn't selling, and they kept reducing the price, and it still wasn't selling. And I came in and I was like, oof, like she wanted to lower it all the way to like 500 or something. And I'm like, well, let's look at the comps, see this house. Well, okay, first of all, the doors in the house didn't even shut, like never shut. Like from the time they moved into the home, none of the doors shut. Okay, that's a problem. No buyer is going to want to buy a house and can't shut the door, especially to the master bedroom. Like, hello? Or the bathroom. Yeah, it was like none of them shut. They had, well, they had put in flooring and they'd taken them all off and then they put them on and then none of them like fit or something. I don't know what they did, but they didn't fit. And so then they were like, oh, and some of the doors had big holes through them and stuff. I'm like, okay. Yeah. No, it was not a hinge issue. It was like the door was too big. Like legit too big. Because my husband like looked at him. He was like, what? Like, what did they do? They just hung a door that wasn't the right size. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, these need to be replaced. The baseboards, it was a mess. It was a mess. What else did we do? The roof was bad. The paint, the house needed to be repainted. Anyway, the sellers had no money. They had been behind on their mortgage. They had then done like a loan mod. Like, I don't know. The banks are doing have been doing weird things. Like with COVID, instead of, okay, so they would call up the bank and be like, we're in financial distress or whatever. And then the bank would just add on like another mortgage to like bring them current. But they would just like tack on all those late fees, all the whatever onto. So they had like a second, third, and maybe fourth mortgage on the house because they had done that so many times. They just needed to get out. They did have equity in their home. So we said, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll help you. And at closing, then you can pay me back. And so, I mean, that's like a huge risk. Like we put $10,000 into it and that didn't include the roof. But with the roof, we were able to get the insurance company to pay for it all except for like $1,500, $200, $2,000 or something. And that's a strategy too. You don't just say, oh, call your insurance company, have them come out. Like you got to know like somebody within the roofing business who understands how the insurance companies work, because like you can get roofs redone and paid for if there was like hail damage or wind damage from like the last storm. And do you think any of us document or know any of that? No. So if you call up and say, I had wind damage or I had hail, and you don't know the date of the storm, they're not going to cover you. But every roofing company, I guarantee you, keeps a log of all of that. So you do want to like call a roofing company who does that.
My brother was with me. He has a huge house in Highland. They told me just replace this roof. I go, why? Those are 30-year shingles.
Yeah.
And he goes, because I had shingles all over my yard.
Yeah.
And I said, what that cost you? $2,000.
Yeah.
Because his house is huge. I can't imagine what that was.
So his insurance company probably paid for it. Yeah. And not every insurance company will cover it, but a lot of them will. There are some. Anyway, there's some strategies with that. So when I see a roof that needs to be replaced, the first thing I do is say, hey, let's call so-and-so and have them come over and look at it and see if we think we could make a claim. Do we want to make a bajillion claims on your homeowner's insurance? No. But if you're getting ready to sell and you haven't had any claims on it, it's okay to have one claim. To have multiple claims, they'll drop you, and then you'll get into the secondary, third insurance that costs triple. Okay. But if you haven't had any claims or if you haven't had any claims in the last 2 or 3 years, you're good to do this, right? So I've done it on a couple of houses that are older that need new roofs, and I've been able to get them done for cheap. Like, it's amazing. It's crazy too, because it's like this roof is 30 years old and yet there's hail damage and rain and wind damage, and so they can make a claim. And at least sometimes it doesn't cover all of it, because if it's like older, they have to make some improvements, like add some vents and different things. And sometimes there might be like some rot on the subroof, and so that would all cost extra, but a big chunk of it can be paid. Anyway, we put that in, and we took care of that from the beginning. Sometimes if people need new carpet in their house, we have an RC Willie account, and we'll just put that on our RC Willie account and have it paid off at closing. Some people add a premium, like a 10% for their time. I haven't done that. I just do it as like a service. Probably I should. I don't know. But Cameron's nodding his yes. You should.
Nothing else, just to hedge your risk a little bit.
Yeah.
If something goes very wrong and you don't get paid and have to sell and you put in $6,000 worth of market.
Yeah. And honestly, I know. Yeah. Yeah. You do have to evaluate your risk. On the West Jordan house, we were dang lucky when it actually came down to the closing table because we did miss that third and fourth lien. Well, it was there. I just was like, I don't know what I was thinking. But we came down to closing and barely got paid. They walked away with just a little bit of money. But what they thought they had in 50,000 of equity actually was like 20. So, yeah. Because of those late payments and stuff, and they didn't understand what they did, and they were like, no, we only have these two. No, we only have these two. And then when it all came down to it, it was like we were actually at the closing table, and the title company was like having to explain what the third and the fourth mortgage were. It was the KW. Yeah, so that's what is going on? How do I get rid of these? Oh, right there. KWLS is when you go on KW's website and stuff, they have their own, like you can look up all over the United States for listings on Keller Williams. On your website from Keller Williams. Listing service, I'm guessing, yeah. So you can look up other listings there. Okay. Professional photography. So I do interiors, exteriors, aerials, and video walkthrough video stuff. Sometimes we also do the floor plan. But I don't really do Matterport anymore because I feel like the video has like replaced that. Plus, like I personally hate using Matterport. Like if I see a Matterport, I'm like, I don't want to click and do all the little dot things. Like I get migraines, and anything with visual stuff that like screens doing weird things, like no. So I just do the video. My clients are happy with that. Plus I can break it up and use it in a whole bunch of different chunks on social media. Target marketing, I'll do digital and print ads. What I mean by that is I'll do Facebook/Instagram ads as well as Google ads sometimes. I don't always do the Google, but I definitely do Instagram and Facebook. Print, I'll send out postcards just listed, any price adjustments, under contract sold. And then we do a listing landing page, like you can create that on your command. And then a grand opening is an open house. And for me, and then I will also reiterate to them, we will do one big open house at the beginning as kind of like a launch to the market, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do any more open houses for you. But we do spend a little bit more in the first one. Then we talk about staging. So I could do a partial or a full. And when I do a partial, that's kind of what I call as a fluff stage, where I might bring in pillows, plants, art. I help them with a decluttering list. And
you already have all of the warehouse those, or what do you do?
I have a storage unit.
Too?
Huh?
Do you have furniture too?
I do. I didn't used to, but I do it now. Right now with the way the market is, it's pretty tough. Like the houses have to be pretty. Like somebody said, it's a price war. And I was like, it's a price war and a pretty war. So like you have to be the prettiest house with the best price. And I don't know any other way to do that other than to go in and help people declutter, get their houses in order, and then fluff them up with, to make them look good. And so all these photos are photos of my listings. My phone? I wasn't sure if my phone was ringing. Okay. Let's see.
In the beginning, when you didn't have a lot of money, were you just using their stuff?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I have a pretty good eye for decorating, and so I would just go in and like just give them a list. Like the most important thing, if you can't bring things in and stage somebody's house, most important thing you can do is just declutter and organize and deep clean. Like there's 3 Ds. What is it? Declutter, deep clean, and depersonalize. Yeah. So make sure all their family pictures, Jesus, BYU, Utah, gone.
So sorry, it's declutter.
Depersonalize, and deep clean. If you can't do anything, do those three. That is, I mean, that'll go a long way. But then what I'll do is I'll come in, and as part of like we were making the list for the decluttering, I would go through each bedroom and I'd like, okay, take out this dresser, take out this thing, because people need to think like when the less things that are in a room actually makes the room look bigger. And then also if a bed is like shoved up against a wall, then that room looks smaller. So you actually want to pull it to get away from the wall and like create space on both sides of the bed. Even if the room is tiny and like you think I'm maximizing the space by pushing the bed up, it actually looks bigger when there's blanks, there's space around things. Going through their cupboards and linen closets, I have them declutter those and like take out as much as they possibly can. Just leave as many towels as they need, a little, maybe a couple sheets, and just minimize that, because people will look in, and if they see that they're stuffed, people automatically in their mind think there's not enough storage. No, it could just be somebody's habits. Maybe they collect a bunch of crap, you know. For a full stage, this would be a vacant house, and I would do the living room, the master bedroom, the kitchen, and the entryway. If there's an office in the front room, I would do that too. I would add towels in all of the bathrooms. So some simple things that you can do for staging is, even if you don't have a lot and you're not bringing a lot of furniture or anything in, but having them replace all of their towels with white towels, shower curtains with a white shower curtain, take out all the rugs. I mean in the bathrooms. Don't take out your rugs with your couch and you're under your table. You want rugs there. But any of like in front of a doorway, get those rugs gone, unless it's like a nice big one.
You go to a particular like discount warehouse or whatever to buy all of the accessories and furniture.
I go to Home Goods, Target, wherever I can find things for.
You warehouse it? Mm-hmm. Is it close to your home?
Yeah, I have a storage unit in Eagle Mountain. I live in Saratoga. So. Or you can hire a stager, or you can hire an interior designer or a staging person to go give a consult to somebody. I think those cost anywhere like around $100 probably to go give a consult. So if you're like, I don't have a ton of money, but I'm going to ask, like, I don't want to, like, anyway, a stager, you could say, hey, would you go give a consult to so-and-so and tell them what they need to do to get their house decluttered and staged? Like, they don't have the money to bring in staging, but they just need help on knowing how to spruce it up a little bit, make it show ready, right? So white towels, white curtain or shower curtain, and white bedding. You can use the bedding that people have already, but I like to put like a white down as the base and then like use their bedspread or something as like their throw quilt at the bottom. Does that make sense? But white, just, I don't know what it is. It brightens the space. It makes it look really clean. And, yeah. And then I have them, add some plants and other pillows, and I bring pillows in with color for that. Okay. So this is both of these are staged. These are staged. Okay, for when we launch, this is, I show them I'm going to do this for the advertising, this for social media, this is what the grand opening will look like. I also show them, look, we syndicate. What that means is once a house is listed on the MLS, and if you click the button on the MLS that you want it to syndicate with all the websites, then it will automatically shoot out. So we'll go to all the major websites, like pretty much every real estate website out there, it'll be on. I tell them I have a smart sign, smart key box, and showing service. And so my smart sign, what I mean by that is I want to make sure that I have the text code or the QR code to where they can click on it, and then it sends them the listing, and it also grabs their information so we can do a follow-up call with them. Also with the smart sign, I like to do the signs that are reflective so that at nighttime when people are driving through the neighborhood, my sign glows.
You put your picture on your sign.
I do, but I don't know that it's necessary. Showing service, I also tell them I use Aligned and what that means, and that's a free service with the MLS. Okay, then I also tell them that we offer a home warranty, 6 months coverage, or until closing. And I get this with Elevate. Although I think Elevate just changed their program. I gotta call them and find out the details. But it was for free. I think it still is for free, but you just have to use them at closing if the buyers.
You pay for that for 6 months.
No, this is free. Elevate.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So, but I've used this. My clients, every listing, I sign them up with it, and my clients have used it. Now, here's something that I do extra though. If something breaks in their house, I usually pay for the service call. It's like $70. Do I have to? No. I'm giving them a free thing. They can, call in and use it on their own, and it's going to be less money for them in general, right? But I don't know. I'm wackadoodle that way. I'm trying to make it as seamless and stress-free for them as possible, right? Plus, I charge generally 3%. So I feel like, yeah. Okay, post-launch, I'm going to responsive communication, weekly updates, listing feedback, listing analytics, skilled negotiating. So these are things that I talk about. Listing analytics and the weekly updates. So Aligned will do automatic requests for feedback. If they don't do it, I am still texting the agent. I'll take the link and I'll put it into my text. Hey, how did the showing go? Want to try to get as much feedback as I can. I'll then pass that over to the sellers. Weekly updates every Friday. I send out an email that talks about like how many showings we've had, how much traffic we've had. I'll show you how to look that up. And then the listing analytics, you can find that on the MLS too. I'll show you that. Then we talk about pricing strategy. So things that we can control, things that we can't control, price, market condition, or price and condition, or things that we can control. We can control whether it's available to show. That sounds crazy, but there are some sellers who are way crazy when it comes to their availability. I actually had some recent sellers that were really tough, and I try to create expectations from the beginning that you need to make sure that listing is available to show. But they're like, their kid went to bed. They had one kid and he went to bed at like 6:30 every night, and they wouldn't do showings after 6:30. I'm like, do you want to sell your house? Literally, this is a short period of time. Like, I get it. I know it's hard. I've had 4 kids. Put the kid in the car and go on a drive. Do you want to sell your house?
Did you get the house sold?
We did. Thankfully. But I was like, every time I'm like, anyway. Or when people have on there, we can only show it on Tuesday and Friday. And I'm like, do you want to sell your house? Like, no. Like, we got to make this available. And whether or not we're offering a home warranty or not, doesn't mean you have to choose the company, but are the sellers willing to pay for it? We talk about the benefits of providing one. They should. It really creates a lot of peace of mind for both parties. Seller can walk away, not have to worry about a thing. Something breaks, they're not going to come back on them and say, you didn't tell us that, la, la, la. Nope, there's a home warranty, fix it, Plus, buyers have someone they can call. Things that we can't control. We can't control what the competition is doing. We can't control what kind of market it is, where the interest rate, or when the perfect buyer walks through. You guys, I had a scare a couple weeks last week. I had a house listed, another house in the neighborhood listed for $35,000 lower. The same house. My sellers were freaking out. I was like, what did they just do? Like, why? we had already dropped the price and it was in a really good part. And I had like 6 or 7 buyers circling the house like for the last week. I'm like, hey, we're right where we need to be. One of them's going to pull the trigger. I don't know which one, but one of them's going to pull the trigger. And then this house listed for 500. Now there are strategies behind coming in way, way lower. And it is, they're trying to get multiple offers. And what happens is they'll drive that price right back up. They'll have multiple offers. They won't be paying closing costs, la, 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 right? And I was like, okay, the best thing I can say is we just got to get that house just needs to go under contract. My clients cannot drop their price 35,000 and we don't need to when we have 7 buyers looking at it. Maybe they could drop a 5 to like nudge one over, get them to do it. Well, so we did. We dropped 5. And that one got multiple offers. And one of the buyers that had been circling didn't want to be in a multiple offer situation. So they came over to us where we ended up offering closing costs and the buy down and all the things. And we are all happy and we are moving forward and we're selling the house. We will eventually know. Oh yeah, it hasn't closed yet. So.
Yeah, just take a look at it and see.
Oh, I know. I know. We'll see.
There's that strategy. There's like this economic or a psychological thing where, like, if you have a Coca-Cola vending machine right there, it'll have X amount of sales. If you have a Pepsi vending machine somewhere solo, it'll have X amount of sales. But if you put them next to each other, both of them will have more sales.
Really?
Because people.
So it's the same idea as like a Wendy's and a McDonald's and a Lowe's and Home Depot.
Do I want a soda?
Great.
Do I want a Coke or a Pepsi? And everybody has an opinion, right? So that's what.
Clearly.
You would get the Coke, I guess.
All the time. Oh, go to a restaurant where they offer Pepsi. It's like, what?
It's like, really? There's that.
I do. If I have that option. If there's a Pepsi, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have a Dr. Pepper. But do you have diet?
Instagram I saw it was like if every company's like slogan was truthful, and Pepsi's was, is Pepsi okay?
And it would depend on. It also would depend on region. Because I would say that probably in like Texas or somewhere, you're probably going to be more Pepsi. Illinois is Pepsi. Wherever the Pepsi people are, they're somewhere. Not here. Best day ever was when Costco changed. Oh yeah. Yeah, true. I know. Yeah. Oh, I love fizzy water. Me too. Give it to me. I don't even need the Coke part. I just need the burn. Yeah. Okay. So this one is special. Anyway, yeah, this came up. It was like, oh my gosh. We had no control of that though. Luckily it worked out for both of us. Okay. Pricing misconceptions that I go over with them is, obviously you want to get the most amount of money out of your house as possible, but a home sells, or market value is what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to sell for. And it's not what you paid, what you need, what you want, what your neighbor says it's worth, what another agent says it's worth. Yeah, I throw that in. And what it costs to rebuild today. Like I had a friend who just reached out to me. Her son lives in San Antonio and they've only lived there for 2 years. It's a D.R. Horton brand new home. And D.R. Horton is still selling homes in that neighborhood. Well, he got a job change, the son. And so now they're going to Florida and they want to sell their house. Well, D.R. Horton is selling the houses for $10,000 less than what they bought their house for. Now they'll also have to pay realtor fees and closing costs more than likely because of the market that we're in. Now he's in the water, $30,000 minimum. And she's like, can this be so? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, Gary Keller says, I think that if no home purchase is a bad investment if you're planning to be there at least for 10 years. If you need to be out of there in 2, it could be a bad investment because you haven't been in the home long enough for it to gain equity and, for the market to change. So, we go over again. I mean, I really go at this, buyers and sellers determine value, blah, blah, blah. And also, buyers make their pricing decisions based on comparing your property to other properties sold in your area. They're not dumb. They are watching the market. They are seeing what other homes are selling for. They are asking their agent what our house is selling for. And they're going in educated. They have more information at their fingertips than they ever have before. They are not just going to come in and be like, oh, I saw this house. I'm going to pay $500,000 over asking because I love this house. They're not going to do it. They're going to want to pay exactly what the market is bearing. Obviously it is what a buyer is willing to buy it for and a seller is willing to sell it for, but there still are these things that we have to use as benchmarks, like the comps. Okay. How do we attract buyers? Well, if we price it right the first time, we're going to get the maximum eyes on a listing possible. So if we list a home slightly, if we list it at market value, we're going to get just over half of the buyers that are out there looking. If we list it above market value, you're going to get half the amount of buyers. If you go above, you're going to get even less. And so if you list it high, the strategy of the idea of, hey, we're going to list it high and then we'll negotiate. Probably you're not going to have anybody walk through your house, especially right now in this market. I guarantee you will not. Maybe you'll have one person, but they're not buying. Okay. Right now in this market, you do have to really think strategically about that value. If you come in lower, and this guy who listed for $35,000 less, he was using this strategy right here. If we mark it 10% below, how many more buyers are really going to come, and obviously those 6 buyers that were circling my house, I guarantee you one of them got it because they were really loving this house, saw this one for 35 less, and they're like, we're going to go for it. Even if we have to go into a multiple offer, they think in their mind they're getting a better deal. I guarantee you though, okay, I can't guarantee, but I bet that they may have gotten the house for maybe 10, 15,000 over what they were asking, but they didn't get closing costs. And right now in this market, a 2-1 buy down can save you a lot of money on your interest that you're paying over the next few years, right? Or a perm buy down, like closing costs can help you. Less money out of pocket that they had to bring, because I guarantee you they didn't pay closing costs on that. If there's multiple offers, why would you, right?
I was talking to a lender friend just 2 days ago, and she actually personally doesn't like 2-1 buy downs. She actually, what is better for the buyer is to do for the seller to help with permanent buy down instead.
Sure.
So it costs the same.
Yeah.
But
But I just mean like they'll have closing costs to use to like put towards a rate buy down that's going to save them more money over time than saving $10,000 on the purchase. Like, whereas, so I bet our nets on the 2 houses come out similar, right? So like maybe we got a higher purchase price, but we paid closing costs, so we're net. And I think our buyer probably got, even though they paid a little bit more in price, they're getting a better deal because their payment is going to be less than that one. And they're going to save over time. Oh, I mean, I use like Eric Smart and Stacy Kent upstairs a lot.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm. They're, yeah. I love Stacy and Eric. They're amazing. But I have other lenders with different companies too. But even in this case, like, I don't know the buyers who they're using. Okay. So I show this, and then I show this graph. Here's another reason why it's so important to price it right first. Time on the market works against you. So if we price it high, there's our market value line. We price it high, and then we start dropping the price. The bottom line is days on market. The further we go out on days on market, finally, okay, maybe we listed it high, and 30 days later, we're like, all right, let's take it down to where we should have had it from the first place. Okay, now we're here. And now every buyer that walks through, they're like, oh, dang, this house has been on the market for 30 days. Like, even if the days on market average is 50, they still look at it and they're like, well, what's wrong? How come it hasn't sold within that time? Well, it was just overpriced. Now we're priced right. Okay, well, now guess what's going to happen? They're going to offer less. When, if we had just listed at market value, and we probably could have gotten it under contract and sold within 30 days, within 2 weeks. Like, if I don't have a house under contract within like 3 weeks right now, I like panic. Even though I know days on market is long. But it's like, I do so much prep work and we think so carefully about pricing it that I'm like, what? What happened? What happened? We got to go back and okay. Not every listing is going to do that. I know. Okay. What to expect for the selling fee. So, this is where I have my levels of services. For me, I'm generally open to negotiating down to a 2.5. Sometimes I'll even do like all the things for 2.5, but I don't really go much lower than that anymore. Most of the time I get 3. And then I recommend offering a buyer broker commission to maximize traffic. More traffic equals more offers, and more offers equals more money or better terms. Unrepresented buyer fee, add 1.5. So we talk about that. What is that? So I charge 1.5% if somebody, a buyer's agent there's no buyer's agent on a purchase. We don't do dual agency or limited agency in our office. So these are things that we can do as an agent where we are not representing the other buyer. This helps us remain a neutral party in that sense, but still advocating and representing our client. And the reason why I charge a little bit more is because there's a lot more work involved. If I've got to, I could let the buyers just do it and figure out on their own, but why would I do that? In the best interest of my client, I want to make sure that they're hitting their deadlines. I want to make sure that they're signing the paperwork. I want to make sure that the paperwork is correct. I'm not doing anything with negotiating stuff, but did they fill it out right? Like it could be a problem later on. Like, so it's my job as a listing agent to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So that's what I do. You can facilitate the logistics for different things, make sure everything's in compliant, proactively work with title companies, all those things. But it does take extra work. And if this happens, they are saving money, the sellers, because more than likely there's going to be an agent asking for 3%.
Do you know what I love about all this is because there's so much there that justifies the work that you do. Whereas most people are just like, sell my house. They don't have any idea what happens in the background every day for them.
Right.
It spells it out.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So then
it's kind of overwhelming, but you kind of want them to understand that this is what you do. Yeah,
right.
I like it.
What other costs could I expect to pay? Then I break this down and I show them, okay, you're going to have title and escrow fees. That is about that. Home warranty, it's about that. Taxes, those will be prorated. We talk about what that means. So prorated taxes means that at the closing table, they will have to pay for, if so, it closes in September 30th. They'll have to pay taxes from January to September 30th because taxes are due in November, right? So, but they've been paying mortgage payments, right, throughout the year. And their little tax payment that is being set aside in their escrow account is still in their escrow account. They cannot access that right now. So they have to come to the table, they have to pay it, and then what's left over in the escrow account will be refunded to them after the house closes. So I do tell them you have to pay it up front, but you're going to get that part back. Just will be a month or so, until the mortgage company sends it. HOA transfer fees, those are negotiable. Buyer closing costs, those are negotiable. Buyer agent fees, those are negotiable. But right now is a buyer's market, so more than likely the seller will be paying for all of that.
It seems like a lot of deals that I'm seeing, people have been negotiating $10,000 to buyer closing.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty common.
10,000 or more. I don't really see much less than that anymore. Yeah, just crazy. Why would a seller pay any of the buyer agent commission? I give them some reasons. And then we also talk about, this has been a practice for decades. The only thing that has really changed is how we advertise. But, and we don't really see buyer behavior changing on this one anytime soon, essentially because buyers want to wrap as many fees as they possibly can into their mortgage. So if they can have the seller pay for it out of their closing costs, but the buyer is actually, if you really think about it, the buyer is bringing the money, right? And they're wrapping that into their fee or their loan. So so when we talk about that, maybe what we need to do is bump the price up a little bit. You know, there's different things that we can do to help offset that. But I do let the sellers know. So what questions do you have for us? And then we go from there. Now, one other thing that I do is, oh crap. I'm going to have to send it from here because I think my computer died. And I think we're about all out of time, almost out of time. So we'll wrap up. We'll do your listing, your contract. And what am I doing? Drive. Okay, we'll do my house since. Okay, wrong account.
Didn't you say you live in Cedar Fort?
I live in Saratoga. Okay. I'm going to share. VIP. Yeah. Okay. So this is another thing that I do at the closing table or at the listing appointment. So this would be like my house in Saratoga. I tell them I charge a transaction fee, $295. That is not something we require here, but I have a transaction coordinator, and so I charge. Nobody says anything about that. But if they do, then that's an easy one for me to negotiate and take off. Oh, okay, that's no problem. Take that off. They're fine with 3%. And I'm happy because $295 eating versus 0.5% is way less. So I'll put in my escrow fees. I go to the, okay, hold on. We got to go. Ooh, I think. Oh, crap.
You know, everybody that signs on to this always has
Issue?
They're
So used to saving passwords on your own devices.
oh crap!
I know.
It's wrong. Do it again.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'll go to. So this is how you find the taxes. Okay, so you go to the tax data, and then you can scroll down and you can see, okay, so my taxes are $36.50, I'll put $36.55. So I put that here. Then I have it prorated. This is all like my assumption side. And then HOA transfer fee. And then over here shows, okay, this is what, if we sell it this, if we sell it this, because we've now looked at the comps, we've gone through all the comps, right? Shows what we'd make. And I map this out for my clients. So we put over here, and I'm just throwing in numbers on the side. putting in a budgets. I usually say, okay, worst case scenario, we're going to pay 3% here. We're going to pay 3% here. And we're going to pay minimum of 10,000. On this one, I put a little bit more because it's more luxury and yeah. So people are always so happy when I have a net sheet. Yeah. And then I'll keep this, and then whichever one we go with, when we get offers, then I actually, if we have more than one offer, I'll just add columns, and then I have a way to compare all the offers. And then as an offer comes in, then I will go through the offer and I'll put in all the information down here that's pertinent, like that's we need to know, like something we can negotiate. And then, so then they have like a snapshot of the offer. And then they can see the bottom line. And when we go through these numbers, I'll say, does this sound right? Does this, what are you expecting? I also ask at the beginning, like, what are they hoping to list for? And what do they think they're going to net and stuff, but we go there. Okay. So
in your breakdown, the professional marketing fees are like your commission.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I don't call it commission. I call it professional marketing fees now. I changed that, I don't know how long ago, a year ago-ish. And I like that because, so this is me. This is a buyer agent. And I do tell them all of this is negotiable, but let's figure out worst case scenario. That way we're going in and they're already of the expectation that I may have to pay 3%. And at the bottom line, am I okay with that number? And if I am, then, and if not, then we figure out how we can adjust all of those different variables to make it work. So maybe we have to bump the price a little bit. If somebody comes in and asks for 3% in closing costs, well, where's a little give and take there? Either the buyer's agent has to give a little, or we have to increase the price, but then we take the risk. Is it going to appraise? If it doesn't appraise, then what's our fallback? What are we going to do then? And then I have a little disclaimer here at the bottom.
So,
are you okay to take a picture of this one?
Yeah.
Just thinking about negotiation strategy. They say that they want 3%. Okay, so let's up the price, and then it doesn't actually appraise for that amount. You come back and say, hey, it doesn't actually appraise that amount, so either we got to take out the 3%, you have to pay your own seller or buy agents.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which one would you do? Which one would you?
I usually give them the option. I say, what would?
These are the two.
I mean, I have a phone call, and I'm like, hey, this is where we're at. We're short. Where would the buyer feel more comfortable? What can we do here? Yeah. What can they give up here? Yeah. Or we could even go back to the HOA transfer fee too. And the home warranty are things that we can cut.
So with the example that you were talking about, kind of a disaster of a list where you found out that they had a third and fourth lien, is that something that you just have to add in to that mix, or that was just too
Yeah.
that was
That
way
was
beyond this point?
way beyond this point. We were at the closing table, and they had their CD, or they had their statement, and it was like they were only getting back 8,000 when they were like thinking they were getting back 30 or something, and it wasn't good. But even like they didn't think that, for some reason they thought that, I don't know what they were thinking. But you guys, it was a bad deal. Like, it was crazy how the banks did that. Like, they charged them a lot of money. Like, it was predatory. It was like, okay, so like maybe they only owed, I don't even know, say it's 400,000 or whatever. And so what they were thinking is, we missed a payment that should have been on their payment schedule, so we still owe the same amount, right? Oh no, they took those late payments and they added it on plus fees, so now they owed $415. But really, like, how do you math that? I don't know. But, and then they did it again. And so there was like a 10 and an 8 or something.
Was this some small bank or was it like a national bank?
Oh, it was a
You know what?
national bank.
Yeah, and they did a lot of that back in '08 too. Crazy stuff. They wrote people into loan modifications that where they didn't fully disclose what that really meant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go to forms really quick. Oh, wait, you wanted which one? Listing agreement?
Oh, yeah. No, the exclusive right to sell. Yeah. Listing agreement.
Okay, so on here, what?
Well, the question I had was on number 2,
where
it says, we repaid the company the brokerage fee in the amount of such and such and a dollar amount. What would that?
So this is where I would put 3% and $2.95. So $2.95 is my transaction fee.
Oh, I see, and that's just for you. I get because it wasn't like an or. It wasn't like a percentage or this. It was like and. I go, what is the and? So if you don't have that fee, then you just put NA or
0. Okay. Yeah. Or if you're not going to do a percentage and you're going to do a flat fee, then you could just do 0 or you could do NA and then put like 10,000.
Okay, so same thing then on 2.2, right?
Okay, so 2.2 for me personally, I don't know, maybe Dean doesn't like this, but here I'm gonna do same thing. 2.2 would be like 1 or 1 or whatever.
So that's.
And that was kind of based on that original sheet that you said because you can't be a dual agent. Yeah. That's just.
Yeah. So
if I have an unrepresented buyer, then I'm going to charge something here, right? Now here on 2.3, I don't advertise specific like clients. We don't agree on a final. Yeah, we have a worst case scenario. Yeah, they're willing to work with an agent. Yeah, they might pay up to 3%. It all depends on the offer. So what we do is this.
what does that stand for?
To be determined.
Sorry, I was like, can I just like cover that?
That's what we do because and then when somebody calls me and say, "Are you offering a buyer agent commission?" I say, "We are friendly with buyers. Send me a good offer, and we'll see where you land." If my client decides later, let's advertise a certain or whatever, let's make sure to tell people, then we will. But at the beginning, everything now that it's all in the offer, like first of all, I never call, I never ask anybody. I just put it in my offer. See where the cards fall.
This might sound a dumb question, but I keep seeing the term the gross acquisition price. What's the gross acquisition price?
Like so the sales price.
The total price. Okay. Well, that's a big word for that.
Yeah.
Gross
would be like the total
why don't we just say the total sales
acquisition
price?
is the purchase. So yeah.
Okay.
Disposition
Legally.
is the sale.
Legalese,
Yeah.
right?
If you do a protection period, I usually do like 1 month, but some people do 0 and some people do more. And then down here we put shall, and then down here I usually find info from my records. So back to actually the record up here.
So what if you do all the staging and you help them with repairs and then the house doesn't sell in the period and then they go with somebody else? Is there a way to be reimbursed for the stuff that
you
paid
can
for?
put that into an addendum and put, that if there's a cancellation fee, if they whatever. Now, up to recently, I actually just took that risk on for the photos and cleaning and all that stuff. Like it didn't sell, and I guess I didn't do my job, and I lose. And I just tell them, look, I'm invested in selling your home, and like I'm willing to upfront this this, you know, and I'm not going to make you pay it back if by the end or it doesn't. Now, if it's a contractor thing, that'd be different. Like I would have put it in an addendum that said, okay, things, and actually I did. Like any fee, any extra fee that we did, we put it in an addendum, put it on, so that was all clear. That way, we could get paid back.
So this is, how often did you lose?
I knock on wood. Yes, never.
Okay.
Okay, but I do have a tricky situation where I know the estate we've reached 6 months for restarting it. We went off months freeze, we're restarting it, and I'm redoing pictures. And I've restaged some things, so I'm out even more money. What the H am I doing? You know, but
So you need 30 days for it to restart, so that people don't see it and go, this is no. Even though the sign's been in the yard.
if it's being listed with the same agent and the same office.
Okay, oh, I see.
So that is so like if somebody cancels a listing and then you call them after it's canceled and you try to get a new listing, then you could put it up on the market literally the next day and it would reset the dollar.
It has to be
30 days.
Oh, no, if it's an outside.
It's an outside agent
Gotcha.
who gets the listing, you can start immediately. If it's you who's going to restart the listing, it has to be for 30 days. I actually think having a little bit of a
Yeah, yeah.
is good. Let's let us breathe and sit for a minute. And really, it all came down to price for this one. This is, you guys, I've been in this business a long time, and I'm still learning. And I knew when I took this on that I was going against everything. It was a friend and neighbor, and whoops.
Those are the hardest ones.
So, you know, and it all came down to price. Even though I was blue in the face saying it's not worth that, they were stuck on no, this is what we're gonna do. And rather than me saying, you know what, I'm not gonna list it because I know it's not gonna sell, it's gonna sit here for whatever. Even though I said it, it's gonna sit for months, la la. Everything I said on this thing came true. I said, okay, whatever, and I just did it, and we were gradually reducing it, but by the time we actually got to where we could sell it at market value, now it's been on the market for 150 days, you know? Well, it's not
Nobody's gonna look at it.
nobody's looking. So I'm like, this is what we need to do. So we started. So fun. But yeah.
Yeah, this has been
Yeah,
fantastic.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
How old are your kids, Courtney?
My kids are 23, 21, 20, and 11.
Look to them, like, so
We've
some
been
of them
married
have,
26 years.
some of them have moved out.
And I wasn't 18. I'm turning 47.
Oh, wow. Well, you don't look like a girl.
Oh, I forgot to mention. This is my listing box, and so I take this with me when I go, and this is what I have the
Looks like a
comps.
piece of box.
Kind of, yeah. I have the comps in here. I have my listing playbook that goes over like my process, everything from my slides. I have it more detailed out, and I put that in here. I have the tax sheet. I have anything else that I think they might want, and then I put a little swig card with thank you. And then so I show up. I have all the stuff in here.
And what's on the back? Reviews?
Yeah,
It's what?
reviews.
Oh, cute. I love that.
Reviews, do custom market analysis,
Very creative.
how much is your home worth. And so when we pull it out, I pull all the stuff out and I put it in and then I hand it to them and we just have stuff to keep everything in. That's my
Your kids
listening
help
process.
you
I
at
did
all?
not do listening to close.
You don't what?
I didn't do listening to close. I did what the advertisement said.
Well, it was really good.
I guess you'll get to see what Jackie does on next week. Any questions or anything else you want me to go over?
What I have to do with this, I really like your insight and stuff, and I liked looking at your presentation because everyone that I've seen is different.
Yeah.
So I like seeing.
And you have to like personalize it. And honestly, it's been years and years.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're selling yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
So any touches that you can put, like people are gonna know that know you,
Yeah.
especially when you're in that sphere of influence. Like big time, they're gonna know if you generated this yourself or if you
Right.
are trying to do something.
Yeah,
that's
and I
not
always
you.
mention as I'm going through the slides, I would tell them like every one of these photos is a listing, and then they can see, oh, the houses look pretty, because they do. I don't mean that in a boasting way, but they do. They can see, look, my photography speaks for itself. My photographer, the staging speaks for itself. Like this is my work here, and you can use other people's examples at first, and then as you start getting more, you just start changing out photos. That's what I did. But also, like for me, being a former English teacher and knowing, okay, look, when I'm writing an argument paper, persuasive, what do I have to do, right? Credibility. I have to have evidence, reviews, and I gotta also tug the heartstrings. So how in my presentations can I include a bunch of that stuff to build my credibility? And so part of the ways that in my mind think, how do I build credibility is making sure that I have deliverables, like having things that have my marketing, my face, anything I can do to add. This just shows a little bit extra. Look, I'm a professional, right? I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. So, yeah. You're gonna do great, and it doesn't happen overnight. I have been in this since 2012, but 2016 really, and it's taken me. I only started doing this in the last couple years, So
It just builds on where you started.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Hey, Courtney,
Yeah.
have you got 1 minute for me to ask you something?
Sure.
Just wanted to get your opinion. I love your class.
Oh, thank you.
Don't tell anybody, it's been my favorite one so far. So,
You're sweet.
well, I think your way of selling and your personality is a little bit more like mine. But anyway, so what I wanted to ask you is, so
Dude, I've never seen anything verified from Michael.
I've been in this for 13 years.
Okay.
And I left him last October, and decided to just go